I'm Michelle Swagerty. My husband's Paul Swagerty, and our children are Rain, Risa, Cedar, Cole, Atara, Tayan, Legend, Adora, Nalani, and Creed.
We have 2 adopted daughters. So we have 5 boys, 5 girls, and two of the girls are adopted. Our oldest adopted daughter is 7 years old, and second adopted daughter is almost 2. I always found her family very fascinating growing up, and her family had a rule that they wouldn't date unless they were interested in marriage.
Well, we actually met when I was in college and he was in high school. I'm actually quite a bit older than him, about 5.5 years. And so he was a freshman in high school and I was starting out in college, and we met in youth choir and at church. And we were just kind of friends over the years. We went to each other's graduation parties and birthday parties, and our families were friends with each other. Our sisters were friends with each other.
Michelle and I were dating. She asked, as is common, how many kids do you want? And being the nerd that I am, I said 2.3. And she said, I was thinking maybe more, maybe 4 or 6
or 12, but I didn't say that. And he's like, okay,
no problem. And that was really the extent of the conversation. So in a way, that was always our plan. And Michelle really prompted me to start thinking a lot more deeply about family size and the reason for having kids and that sort of thing.
We just had a lot of interests in common, and so we'd have all these deep discussions. So it was an easy transition to hanging out together even more because we just had more time to talk and ran up big phone bills, unfortunately.
I found her intellectually very intriguing, and she always laughed at my terrible jokes.
Yeah, it was just kind of a gradual thing. It was like, I want to marry my best friend kind of thing.
And that for us has been the core, the center, the foundation of our relationship.
He did kind of surprise me with the engagement because, I mean, I knew that we were going to get engaged at some point.
And we had only been dating for a couple months at that point. And I thought, that's interesting. You know, you would think that would really make an impact, and it did, but it was just the whisper of the Holy Spirit inside my heart.
The day that he decided to propose to me, I got home from work. I was working at our church at the time, and
I really felt the Holy Spirit speak to me that this is the woman you will marry.
He was there at the house, at my parents' house where I was living, and I was like, so what are we doing tonight? You know, should I change into sweats or what? You know, I was still in my work clothes, and he's like, yeah, you should change. And because he just wanted me to be totally surprised. So he didn't want me to think that there was anything special. So I changed into this orange camp t-shirt that I'd been a camp counselor, and sweats, and really my almost ugliest outfit possible. And so then we're sitting on the front porch on the swing at my parents' house, and he gets down on his knee and presents this ring to me, and I'm like, I could hardly even answer him because I was thinking about my stupid outfit.
I'm wearing this ugly shirt. And I thought, you haven't said yes yet. Were you going to say yes or no? And she says, this shirt is ugly.
I was like, I can't believe you told me to change clothes so that I could be, and then they were videotaping and everything. I was so mad. It took a long time for me to forgive him for that. But I did say yes.
I had to remind her to say yes. Was that a yes? And it was the same night. She said, yes. I'll marry you.
Wedding was just gorgeous. We had so many friends who were so generous with us and decorated the church gorgeously, and our reception, and did the music. We had a string quartet because I had friends from church and from college. We had a very big music program.
We had saved our first kiss for the wedding. and for the wedding ceremony. So we hadn't kissed ever. And so that was announced to the congregation, and I'm standing there and it's okay, first kiss. And I remember like, how do I do this? And I lean in, and there's a short pause, and anyway, and then my friends had hid behind some curtains with confetti cannons to shoot off at the first kiss, which was a fantastic surprise.
It was just gorgeous. And everybody just surrounded us. And I mean, we were just blessed, just showered with blessings. We always have been. I don't know why. God just showers us with tons of blessings.
And the first baby was born in January, a little over a year later. So what would that be, 14, 15 months?
Paul was kind of disappointed because he's always been like we call him a salt racer. Like he just gets going and just keeps going. He never stops. He doesn't slow down. He just keeps going. So he was hoping to get pregnant like on our honeymoon. And so after about 6 months passed and I still wasn't pregnant, we were both kind of like, are we gonna have any kids? This is kind of weird. And then 7th month, I got pregnant. She's great now, but she was challenging to get out. I'm not one of those people who's just like, oh, pregnancy makes me feel so wonderful. No, pregnancy makes me feel really awful. Like PMS for 9 months. It's horrible.
It was really the 4th for me, actually, that was that embracing of fatherhood, embracing this is the reality, this is my life, and I do actually like this. I hadn't resisted liking it with the first 3, but I just didn't know what I was doing.
Probably it was the most challenging when the first few 3 or 4 came, because they were so young. And so, when my 4th was born, then Rain was only 3.
I was trying to figure out how to have a career. I was trying to figure out how to be a husband and be a father all at the same time. And it all has turned out fantastic.
Paul at that time was working 2 jobs and just trying to make ends meet. So it was long days that I thought I was never gonna live through. But we got through it, and now once we got to the point where the older ones could help, then having more babies was really just fun, because we all just kind of were able to work together and are able to work together to care for the new little ones, and everybody loves having new babies.
I was never opposed to having more kids, so I wouldn't say that there was a mind change. In fact, I've always embraced being unusual by having a large family.
My parents homeschooled me and my sisters when just for me it was just high school, and the difference for my life was night and day between going to public school and then being homeschooled. I just felt like I could grow in my faith, that I didn't have that pull between the world and the Lord and obedience to God. And I was just able to relax and just get a solid foundation for who I was before I was launched out into the world.
Handwriting and spelling and more math. And then we do grammar and composition.
I was public schooled K through 12, 1 through 12, and I didn't feel like I was prepared for real life, and that was a big thing that I wanted to build into our homeschooling experience, was real life, real experiences, really thinking about how we actually interact in the real world with a real job, and instead of just the theory of being able to get all the answers right on the test. Knowing facts is important, but knowing how to apply those facts is even more important.
So we feed the dogs and the cats and the chickens, and we also have to clean out the meat bird cages.
We have a buddy system, so our older kids all have a younger buddy that they help get ready each day, and that's how we kind of get started. And I always make menus for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so we know kind of where we're headed with that. And we definitely have a schedule, and I make out checklists for their schools every night, so that they know what they need to do the next day, and all of their chores. We have charts and systems for pretty much everything. Early on, actually before we even got married, to not have television as part of our lives.
Yep.
We went on a fast just as a discipline. Just part of our church was doing a fast from whatever that you could choose at the beginning of the year. And so we chose to fast from television, and we found we didn't miss it.
So we have this giant, I don't know how big it is, but it's really big screen and projector. So we have film movie night, and we use that, and it's really fun.
Our oldest adopted daughter is 7 years old, and the second adopted daughter is almost 2.
I am a Tara Alana Michelle Swagerty, and I am 7.
Chores, it's always loud and no one wants to do anything.
I asked my mom one time, because I thought maybe it happened during high school, and she was like, no, you always talked about adopting. And my parents were always very hospitable. They would invite young moms and their young children to come stay with us if they needed a place to stay for a few months or a year or whatever. And we were always very active in the pro-life movement and praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that.
To adopt our second one, we ended up taking a road trip as a family in our 15-passenger van all the way from California to Florida. So I texted Michelle and had a feeling she would go for it, and she said, that's a fantastic idea. So in the span of about 10 days, we went from having no plans to go on a road trip to Florida, to being in Florida. This was an answer to prayer for my son, who was really excited about this baby because she was due to be born very near his birthday.
Kids that might fall through the cracks, and with those children. And so that's how we were able to find both of our daughters.
We were on the road. I was well, everybody was well. And we just drove. We ended up not staying at any places. We just drove. We swapped driving, stopped at rest stops to sleep when we needed to. And it was absolutely a fantastic memory of just being all together on the same page, doing the same thing, having a great purpose together.
Talking and sleeping in the car, and that was really fun. And one thing I remembered best about that is one time I woke up early in the morning and the clouds were all pink.
Kids just love their moms. As imperfect as I am, they just want to give me hugs and kisses and sit next to me and cuddle, and those moments are just priceless. Private adoption is very expensive, but God has always provided what we needed through fundraising and family and saving a lot of money as much as we could and stuff like that. And then after we had, when we got to 6 kids, but we still had a car that only seated 7 people, so we couldn't go anywhere together as a family for about a year. And I just kept praying all of that year, God, you know we need a bigger car, and it's not like I really want to have a huge car. It's not like my dream to have to drive a bus, but you know, we really need a car so that we can transport this family that you've given us and have room to grow if you have more kids for us. And you know, after over time, he just provided something we were able to pay for cash, and I don't know, he's just always provided everything we need.
Just trusting God and really following Jesus, no matter where he led, which was exactly how we'd been raised. Follow Jesus.
Prayer was what helped us discern that we were supposed to get married, adoption, every one of our kids, even just getting through the births. I mean, I eventually learned to really be able to trust God even with that, and be able to pray through that in a way that helped me learn to focus on him in a way that I can get past whatever.
You know, my prayer was based around Jesus when he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I had discovered that the Catholic Church had the truth, the fullness of the truth, that it had the way. And a lot of my prayer was around, Jesus, help me find the life. Help me find the joy. Family worship time is something that I love doing. It is one of my favorite experiences as a family. We've done it in various forms, in various ways over the past 15 years. It started out very simple, just reading Bible stories to the kids. It's incorporated various aspects, Michelle playing the piano, reading the daily readings, that sort of thing over the years, as schedules and children's ages allow. But just the act of coming together, of learning about the faith, of praying together, praying the rosary together, it's not always clean. It's not always proper. Sometimes my kids color on the floor with crayons between their toes. And that's just real life. But it's always beautiful to God to be able to offer that to him.
The hard stuff, it goes away. And I've never met an older person who says, I wish I hadn't had so many kids. They all are like, I'm so blessed that I had the kids I had. And sometimes they say, I wish I had been able to have more, you know, because at the end of your life, you're not looking back going, you know, I wish I'd had another car, or I wish I'd spent more time at work. You're looking back going, wow, that time that I spent with my kids, that was what meant the most.
Michelle is very understanding, very forgiving. She is very quick to forgive, and slow to speak. Not because she doesn't have ideas. She has lots of ideas, but she really waits to hear from the Holy Spirit on things and really listens to God. She's also beautiful.
Paul is that he's so open to the movement of the Holy Spirit. And when he discerns that this is the direction the Holy Spirit's saying to go, he just does it. And like the past is forgotten, like it's just gone, and he's 100% in. In personal transformation, he's always seeking to grow as a father, as a husband, and I've just seen him go from point A to point 1,000. I mean, A to 1,000, but you know what I mean. Just from here to here. I mean, he's just grown so much spiritually and in his character and everything over the years. Well, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I couldn't do that. You must have so much patience." And really, you don't just get it all at once. It's not like we just popped into marriage and then all of a sudden had 10 kids. They come one at a time, and God gives you the grace every day as you need it. So if you're called to have a big family, then God will give you all the patience and the grace that you need to do it.
A joyful family doesn't mean a sinless family. It doesn't mean a perfect family. It means getting along. It means loving. And especially to dads, it means serving your wife and your kids no matter what.
We still spend a lot of time talking because we just really enjoy talking. And if things get really busy, we just stop everything and just make time to spend time together because we just miss each other.
Keeping a focus on attitudes, keeping a focus on loving each other, keeping a focus on loving God, keeping a focus on serving each other makes our family joyful.
A lot of people see having children as a burden, but my family is definitely a blessing to me.
We are the Swagerty family, and we are joyfully big.